Hey everybody, it's your pal Mike Zombie, and this week we're going to talk about A Cadaver Christmas from 2011, and special thanks to, I believe it's Natural White Productions, for working with McPherson, getting me, Mike Zombie, a copy of this to check out. Well, to be honest with you, I was really looking forward to seeing this, and I will say that about any Christmas movie. Christmas, though, you know, I'm horror and zombie. I almost said horror obsessed. Okay. Fuck it, we've got three now. Horror obsessed, and zombie obsessed. But I really, really like Christmas. There's something about the chill in the air. I used to love going to the mall and standing in the long lines of people sneezing and being miserable because I knew the joy that these gifts would bring to people. So anyway, I love Christmas, love the music. I just, I'm into it. I really am. So even more than Halloween, which is really, now that I live in a place where children can't come, because I'm not, no, I'm kidding, because I'm in a gated building and nobody can get in. So we don't even have Halloween here, really, for all intents and purposes. Plus, I live in the ghetto. So Halloween kind of went by the wayside, but Christmas was always my number one. So I love any movie with a Christmas twist, but we're talking about A Cadaver Christmas. This just came out, from what I understand, looking at it, it looked like they were doing something with it in 2008, but apparently it just became available. So I'm going to do very little to spoil this film, as they were nice enough to lend it to us. But because I'm honest, I'm going to tell you what I didn't like about this film. And there was quite a bit that I didn't care for. On IMDb, I'm looking here, it's rated 4.8 out of 10 stars. I think that's a little high for me. But apparently, from 70 users, I'm in the vast minority. This wasn't a bad film, and I'm not going to say it was, but there were some things that I could have done without. A brief synopsis, because I'm not going to ruin this. It's Christmas, or Christmas Eve, I believe it to be Christmas, at a bar, and there's the great big bartender and the drunken guy sitting there. This movie reminded me of a bunch of other zombie movies, probably only because I've seen so many. They're enjoying flipping through the channels, and they run across a children's cartoon with some hippos. They're reminiscing and having a very somber moment about a friend that's passed away. And they don't go too much into explaining who this person was, but they liked this cartoon, and he's watching it. They're all kind of getting teary-eyed watching it. This takes me back to the one with the strippers that I did like 3 months ago, where they're all stripping, and the owner of the strip club, remember, he was obsessed with this children's entertainer that kind of looked like a pedophile, but was totally into the show and the message, and they kept bringing it up. It completely took me to that place. But they're watching the hippos. It's not a bad message. It wasn't creepy, but it was their intro to why this guy's probably sitting around getting shit hammered on Christmas. Somebody bursts in the door. It's some guy who's covered in blood. My first thought, and when you see this film, if you see this film, it's a janitor. He comes in, he's covered in blood. He's like, "Where's the bathroom?" My first thought was, fuck, this guy looks like Nigel from Brain Dead. Kind of physically reminded me a lot of Nigel. And I'm like, all right. And he goes to the bathroom, and he rinses all the blood off his face, and he walks back out with a bunch more blood in his face. And they're calling the cops on this guy. He's from the college, and he's like, well, some shit's going down. So they all end up, the cops show up, there's zombies everywhere, there's the big debate. One of the running gags, as one guy calls them, the janitor, and he's known as the janitor. He has no other name, even at the end of this film. He's the janitor. He's the hero here, kind of, I guess. I don't know. He didn't reach out and grab me as a viewer, but other than I thought he looked like Nigel from Brain Dead. Or Dead Alive, depending on which version of the film you've seen. They end up going back to the college and trying to save the day. I'm not going to ruin it. The problem is, what I didn't like about this film from start to finish was they put a grain. If you've ever fucked around with like Windows, I'm trying to think of what the home user would probably use, like Windows Movie Maker, Sony Vegas, Premiere. These, you obviously don't have an Avid flatbed. You're not cutting film at home, but maybe you are. But most of us aren't. And there's a setting you can use for like old footage to make it look dated, where there's like little blurbs and blips and little hairs that appear, and it's grainy and it kind of shakes a little bit. They used that filter start to finish. I hated that. I absolutely did. I don't mind watching that shit when I'm watching footage from 1940. Hey, you know what? That's what we have, and we've preserved it as best we can. But when you're shooting, this was digital. When you're shooting digital, no reason why you can't find a better filter. I don't know. This was a comedy / horror film, but I felt it really didn't put its feet too much in the comedy camp and not enough in the horror camp. There was a lot of blood and gore. None of it was really effective to me, save a few scenes where you could tell they were like, we really need to make this one fucking hit a home run. And they did a good job. But the grain from start to finish really got on my nerves. Only because it was turned up so high that it was really noticeable, and I just get distracted by that shit. You might not. But what I will say is, behind the grainy footage, whoever was the director of photography on this did a great job. There were a lot of convincing angles, a lot of interesting angles, a lot of shots that were, not from a traditional perspective that I thought really came across nicely. And then I was like, that looked great, except with the dated looking film. But that's okay, whatever. I'll fucking live. Now, this group of people go to the college, fight their asses off. Some of them die. Most of them die. Not all of them die. And I won't tell you who lives. I'll tell you the janitor. The janitor lives. Now, there is one scene that I thought, two scenes, one of which involves titties. We'll talk about in a minute. But first off, a touching scene to me, because this wasn't all just stupid dialogue and shit thrown together. There's a guy who's the drunk, basically, and that's all he does. He saved the janitor's life. The janitor's knocked out, and he's taking his hand and he's talking to the janitor, and he's like, I'm using the janitor as a puppet, making him talk back. And the dialogue he invents and has with this janitor as a puppet, the guy's passed out, but he's making him talk. It's kind of really revealing as to who this guy is and what's going on and where his head is. And it was kind of sad and oddly touching. Now to the important thing, the titties. One of these zombies, early on, a character we don't really give a fuck about at the college is fucking a cadaver, and I guess it's creepy, but she comes back to life. She reanimates, and I don't know who this girl is. I've looked at the list of the cast. This movie is worth seeing just for the best film tits I've seen in 20 years. This lady had a great fucking rack. I don't mean to be crude, so all you bitches, calm down. I'm trying to be respectful. All right. No, but I said something one time. I think I stole it from Flight of the Conchords. It's like, I'm sorry for my language, but you lovely bitches and hoes should know that I'm trying to correct this. Something of that nature. Her boobs were phenomenal. I had to watch it 37 times. Oh, I counted, yeah. No, very nice. I don't know who she is, but man, she needs to get more work. It needs to be topless work. That was a good point of this film. I don't know. It says, God bless us, everyone. What I did like about this film, even from the start, was this is really weird. The non-important actors did a really good job. The news crew that we lead in with, they're really good. Their take on the news was worthy of anything I've seen in the morning here in LA, and we have some decent crews out here in the morning. They did a great job. They were very convincing. The choir did a great job, but I just wasn't sold on the acting of any of the main characters. I didn't give a shit about him. I really didn't. The drunk was the closest I came to, because hey, I resemble him. I drink on occasion. I'm overweight. Hey, so I could relate. Other than that, I couldn't get into any of these guys and wouldn't let them into my heart. And I did feel, if I'm to be completely honest, that there is a showdown scene at the college where the janitor is using everything he can to just lay waste to this horde of zombies / cadavers, whichever side you're picking. And it, again, took me straight back to Brain Dead, where Nigel is running around the house, the fucking lawnmower, chopping these fuckers down. So I feel that A Cadaver Christmas borrowed quite a bit from Brain Dead, even if it was just accidental. And that might be my fault for just having seen Brain Dead so many times and loving it so much that, when I see something even similar, I pick up on it. That other one where the guys were in the woods and made the fucking super truck with lawnmowers in the front, I thought was also a direct ripoff of Brain Dead. I don't think Cadaver Christmas ripped it off. I just think they borrowed a bit. And it's not a bad film. On the Berdinsky scale, which I've measured no less than 17 ounces of fucking Colombian gold bud on. It's not a buy, it's a borrow. But let's be honest, if you're going to borrow this fucker, someone's got to buy it. So somebody out there, buy a Cadaver Christmas so that everyone else can borrow it one by one by one. It's worth a watch. You got to see the boobs on whoever her name was. Oh, fucking amazing. Really amazing. But, and it was, I don't know. I've seen a handful of Christmas zombie films, and this would probably be maybe in the upper 80 percentile on it. I've yet to see one that I really thought knocked it out of the park. Now, there's some really great Christmas-themed horror films. This is not one of them, but this is worth a watch, absolutely. Check it out. And again, thank you very much to the company for letting Daryl and I get a copy of this to enjoy. And I did enjoy it. Like I said, I'm not going to fucking shell this film and ruin it. It is worth a watch, so check it out. Anyways, that's all I've got for this week. I'm tired as fuck. I'm going to bed. I got to get up in 5 hours and go to work, so see ya. Oh, and I had some news, but it's just that quick.